Got a little emergency deal here right now. Drove up here from Arkansas and came for a coolant flush. He actually put VC9 in his truck at home, drained it, ran water through, block drain and radiator petcock out, and ran through that, and then put VC9 in it and drove up here for us to finish the coolant flush. He used the 3-hour drive with VC9 to clean it because his oil cooler is completely shot. Right now, we went ahead and back flushed it. I didn't even show none of that on video, but we did back flush it, hooked a fitting up to it, and now it's about a 20-degree difference. It was 50, now it's at 20, but within a week, it's gonna be right back to 50, maybe 2 weeks at the most. So what we need to do, he wants to do everything. He wants cab off, let's make this done, do it. But we can't get to it right now. We can't do it. So it's a bummer because the head gaskets are really bad. Like real bad, real bad. So, and the cooling system was pretty desolate too. So we actually have VC9 in it right now. I'm letting it warm up a little bit before we put some more in. All right, so he brought it down here. I'm coming back here because we're letting the truck warm up. It's got injectors done already. So at oil temperatures as high as he was, he almost turned into an emergency. So what we're gonna do is a emergency intake, wipe height, buy the parts that he's gonna buy in the future anyways. He's gonna go ahead and buy those, but he's still gonna have head gasket issues, and they're pretty bad. So we're gonna change the oil cooler is what we're worried about. The oil cooler and its coolant filter, y'all saw. I closed it off, but it's got an oil coolant filter and it's completely clogged, completely. So, looks like a new one, I guess. He said it was on it when he bought it. Anything else? Well, we're not gonna go all polished and everything. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see how much we actually do, because it's gonna be kind of an act of God just to get it in, to get it done, because I mean, it should be, when we're banging parts real good, this should easy one day, easy, and gone. So that's what we're gonna go for today, and I'm gonna do it hot too, which, you know what, a lot of times doing these jobs, if you can do them hot, I'm gonna drive it in right now, get one last look at everything before we actually break it down, and bolts come out easier when it's hot. So it hurts a lot more, your hands get all messed up. So I actually messed my arm up yesterday. You can't even see it, it was fun. He used that much getting from Arkansas to here. The other one's completely full still. So he was ready. So we tried our experiment. The VC9's been in all weekend. I'm hoping that VC9 is also a good rust inhibitor. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, top the back off. So we're gonna take it in and just pull it apart. What's she doing? Boy, these brakes sure, they bleed off. They bleed off really bad. I mean, to me it just screams master cylinder or ABS module, something. Not quite to a dangerous point though, but you better pay attention. By dangerous, I mean you might just, you know, it's less dangerous because of the brakes as opposed to the oil cooler. I mean, you might just crash the truck, you know, because the brake issues. At least you could have avoided that. The oil cooler, I mean, we'll show you in a minute. It's gone. I mean, the only thing you'll lose is, you know, overheat the oil and all the injectors. Did you see that? You'll lose all the injectors and turbo, high pressure pump will go. And then if you melt all that plastic, and then it goes down inside of the crankshaft and the oil galleys, and you just ride along with us for 10 pounds of boost, 184, 168. You know, it's not heat saturated yet. This truck actually runs really good. It rides pretty good too. So we're gonna get on the highway right now, and I'm gonna show you what numbers we see. 14 volts, that's good. 180, 184. Get about 19, 20 pounds of boost, but it's got blown head gaskets, so we really want to keep it under about 10 pounds of boost. Of course, there's no way to do that and safely get into traffic. So head gaskets are an issue, but if we keep our foot out of it, we can possibly just kind of kick this can down the road a little bit until we can actually get to it. But at least if the oil cooler is not shot, then maybe you can not melt the freaking truck down and lose all its injectors, and hot nose stars, top injector O-rings, nipple cup O-ring failures. I mean, all that happens with hot oil. It does. It's drag. I guess we are going to see how well a second VC9 flush and a back flush of a 50-degree oil cooler will do. Because there is a chance if we come up here, if we drive this in and this oil cooler passes right now, that we might not do anything to this truck and let him take it and save all his money. That way we can do the oil cooler and all the stuff when we tear it apart. But I'm only 5 miles into the trip right now. We got about 13 more miles to go, and we'll see what it does, because right now we're at 9 degrees, 10 degrees. And I'm kind of driving it. I'm trying to ride about 10 pounds of boost, however it needs to be. However fast we can go. You get down a hill, hold it at 10 pounds, let it stay that boost, and then you speed up. Just trying to work the engine to build heat. Let's see how hot we can get it. So what do you think of that? 31 degrees right now, coming off the interstate. The pedal sponges down to about halfway. That's a bummer. It's 32 degrees. I'd really hate to have him melt this thing down, so don't just throw an oil cooler in it with no frills, just so he doesn't melt it down so he can drive. He still has head gasket problems. But take a day, almost to the shop right now. I'm gonna rinse out this VC9. We're taking it apart, so I can do the last flush. I'll do one more flush right now, but yeah, we need to go ahead and just knock it out and get it done, because I mean, I've been sitting here idling and it will not go down. I mean, it won't go down. It's at 220. It's staying right there. I can actually smell the VC9 because it's puking. If you don't get it with the procedure of ownership, between starting with coolant, get the cooling system all happy, that in turn will ensure that you can get the oil cooler all happy. Then once the heads are bolted down, you're good to go. I mean, it's a whole different truck. Right now, we can't get to all of it. That's a drag. So the schedule never freaking works. So I think we can just knock this sucker out today. I think we can have it done today. With the thoughts, with it known that this one we're putting in right now is going to be sacrificial for the health of the cooling system. He's going to go and put at least, hopefully, 5,000 miles on this truck. Baby in the coolant, that sucks. And then if his oil cooler, this oil cooler that we're about to put in is good, afterwards, when it's time, when we take it all the way apart, if it is good, then we can reuse it and you don't have to buy that. But I am absolutely getting him ready for that to not be the case. For it to not, I don't know, it sure will be a bonus if that oil cooler is good, if it stays good afterwards, you know, because then you don't have to buy it. But maybe we can cool the oil a little just before we drain out that VC9, have the last little effort of the coolant pump to dislodge some stuff before the VC9 actually comes out. See how dirty this flush is too. This is the first, I think this is the first time I've ever actually went through with the VC9 flush, a second one, and on top of that I left it in all weekend. We left VC9 in it all weekend, and I'm gambling that because VC9 takes rust away, it inevitably should inhibit rust from forming. I think, hopefully. I don't know what it does to rubber and gaskets and seals and plastic. I'm not sure. It's not cooling off at all. So 217 when that could be worse. I mean, it's 25 degrees, but that's right now. Like, we've got less than 100 miles on a back flush. We made this and we bolted to the housing, and we have a lot of water pressure here. It's pretty strong. It blows backwards. The problem is when we took the hose back off and I started the truck with this hooked up and held this hose out, there was hardly any flow actually going through the oil cooler. Hardly any at all. So yeah, so I think we are just going to tear it apart and just throw an oil cooler in it real quick. Go ahead and put our intake and Y pipe on it, because we're going to have it on there, and it should be a really quick job. It really should be. But I'm not sure how much detailing we're going to do. We might just get it banged out and back together, because he's actually not on the schedule. And he put the faith in us to drive all the way across, halfway across, wherever he drove across, right? So at least we can give him one day. I mean, this is not charity. He's paying for it. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I mean, this is so but the least we can do to keep him from melting everything down is knuckle down and get it. But before we can even start banging bolts and parts, we have to get the cooling system ready. I mean, and you can't argue with that. That's the first flush, and then this is the same truck directly afterwards, me deciding I'm not happy with that. I want another VC9 flush. So we did one over the weekend and let it sit. That is successful right there. I mean, it'd even be more successful if it was black. So close enough. Let's clear it out. All right, guys, we got Alan's truck here. Don't do that. Pick and mounts. Doing an oil cooler real quick. I'm gonna put some other parts on it, but it's already deleted. It's been deleted, and I mean, it never fails. There's always something, always. I mean, nothing. I mean, that ferrule, that metal ferrule right here, is supposed to be up there. So the nut goes down and touches it, but they, I mean, they took it off and put it together wrong. It's funny. Just more too, they got the throttle plate plugged in, and the throttle plate is still in there. Let's not do that. I mean, I don't know, guys. I just keep seeing things. Look at that. It's not even tight. That's an O'Reilly's or aftermarket tensioner. No kickstand on it. And I saw it wasn't even. Yeah, it's tight though. It's tight. It just, the tensioner is not built to accept the factory bolt. That's genius. Heck yeah. Whatever. It's just a pain in the butt. You have to open the tensioner to get it behind the front cover, and wonder why I hate these tensioners. I mean, I would replace this tensioner just because of lack of use, lack of easeability of use. Freaking stupid junk. I mean, put a freaking kickstand. I've talked to the people at O'Reilly's and Murray, and whatever. I'm not gonna buy any of your freaking tensioners. None of them. Freaking junk. I hate that. It's so stupid. You don't need that bolt in there. Don't worry about that. I mean, a lot of this, we just can't make it up. I mean, really? Jesus. This side they had right. But Jesus. They worked harder to do it wrong. I don't get it. Crap. Guys, I can't handle this. I'm going to go ahead and yank off the AC compressor and the tensioner and the power steering pump and get this harness off of here. It'd make the job a lot easier. I mean, then we don't have to bungee it up, and we'll get to clean the harness up. I mean, we need to clean it up. We're going to wind up cleaning it anyways, so we might as well at least just get some of the grime off. I don't know that I'll tape it all the way up. Might tape up some of it, but I probably won't. That way, any water, because we're going to be kind of on a time crunch. I don't really want to let it sit for days to completely dry, so maybe we'll just clean it and then let it dry on the truck and not tape it up anymore when it's wet. You follow me? So that's what I'm planning. We're gonna go ahead and put a Y pipe on it while we're here. He won't have to buy those when we tear back into the truck. Look at that. I mean, Whatever it takes. We're gonna put a Y pipe on it because the alignment is shot. It's, yeah. Oh well. At those alignment videos, maybe I'll put a thing up top. Up top, up here, bam. You think? Probably not. Someday I will, because I have a video on aligning that so you can have room to actually tighten the bolts, but we actually have different procedures for it now anyway, so. We will run self-tappers up in here to just keep that insulation up there looking good. All right, so make sure we blow down there, guys. Make sure. I've been brake cleaning it and blowing it. I'll look down in there. Maybe. Yep, we can't really see it. All the way down in there, right down there. That's where a nut or a bolt will be, and then when you take the intake off, it falls down in the intake port, and you don't even know it's there. We'll get the borescope out and actually look. Julie made a call. We are not taking the harness off right now because she said, I mean, it takes days to do anyways, so let's just wait. I always take time and look. I figured I'd show you guys too. Well, we look down in there to make sure that we're not gonna, there's not something already there to fall down in the intake. The intake's coming off right now. Huh. You guys know what you're looking at? I'm only showing all this stuff. I mean, I don't even know who did this job, but I'm showing it all so that you all can see what not to do. Right? Clean that off. That if they would have cleaned that when they did the delete and they put that piece on, it would never have gotten dirty again. Just say that. So they cleaned in here a little bit. All right, here's where I'm torn right here because I would love to take that pump off. If we take this apart, if we can yank the pump, then the reservoir will drain, all the oil will drain. I think he's got T6 in here, but so it's a toss-up. It actually costs more to pull the pump, but it would also allow us to clean it out, which we can clean it out anyways, but I guess I can just pump it up and put it in. We'll see. You know, you can pour it in the drain and put it back in the crankcase out of the oil filter housing, the oil cooler housing, because this oil, look, he just changed it. And all we're doing right now is to get these numbers back down just so he can drive it to, because I mean, we can't get to the heads right now, and it needs head gaskets done, so we're just gonna, so that he can put 5,000 miles, so he can put some miles on this thing with that red coolant in it, basically protect the engine block, make sure that when we do go in to take the heads off, we'll know if the oil cooler that's in it is good, and if it is, it'll be good forever. But if it's not, because of how the flushes was, how it was 50 degrees, it was 50 degree difference. So that's pretty bad. So at that point, we want to make sure that this oil cooler could potentially be sacrificial, really could be. And the end game goal would be when the head gaskets get done, it has the chance of putting the final oil cooler in it because we'll have a whole bunch of miles on it, and the ELC coolant will have protected the engine block, the coolant passages. So yeah, that's my goal. But I was like, I really want to take this pump off so I can drain the reservoir, but we're not gonna. We didn't clean this either. We just bungeed it up. It's actually can go up even higher. I've got it just relaxed there, just to get it out of the way so we can get the oil cooler done. In turn, go ahead and do the intake, because we've got the parts off to get the oil cooler. So we'll go ahead and put our intake back on it, eliminate the J-tube, eliminate the hose, and go ahead and put a Y pipe on it too. So that's my goal. Wish I would have got that. A lot of these were ridiculously, they're tight. Everything was tight, like cracking really bad. We take it off, and I got on this one, and it's nothing. I mean, that was forgotten a lot. A lot of them are forgotten. You know, when you do the oil cooler cover, there's bolts all the way around this. It's easy to put one in by hand and forget to tighten it. I think that's what happened. Yeah, it's pretty wet too. I don't know if that's the reason. You guys want to clean it? Clean it with a sharpening stone. Spray some WD-40 on it, just like that. And I've already done it to this side, so I'm not going to stop until I get it done. Watch what it does. Actually, I'll show you on this one. I'll show you on this one. Here, I'll get this one done. Now it's all nasty, so I spray that and I'll physically wash it with WD-40. Wash it off, it'll get rid of all of it. Don't wipe on it. We'll show you. See what it does here, see how it looks. Watch when I wipe it off. So I washed it off a little bit. See, I haven't even wiped this yet. Watch what it does. Two times. You do it twice, and it's golden. Now it's ready to wipe off, and we'll spray this again one more time. I can't do it with one hand, and then I'll show you this side. Okay, you see it? Got it wet. Here we go. Let's show you how. Shot back stuck to my leg. Let's just show you how in real time how long this actually should take to clean this deck surface. Be careful. Now, there, wash it off. Here, let's just do this. Wash it off just like that. Go right here for the second one. Okay, I might go a little more if I had, you know, both hands. So, find a towel. I can just use this. I don't want to use that dirty one. There you go, watch this. That is ready for assembly. Smooth. Not completely clean as if we just did heads or something on it, but it's absolutely clean, and I could do a couple more of them and it'll come really good. But it goes from nasty surface. Now before that I used a putty knife and a shop vac, and I scraped with the shop vac to clean all the big stuff. But here makes it, of course I'm not done, but it works now very, very well. That is also how I do the surface here, but we have a shorter stone. Get a shorter stone, and then you can go side to side here and clean that out without having to whiz wheel it. Just use sharpening stone. Works great. Okay, so we have spent a considerable amount of our lives waiting on Ford to get us the heat shields that go in front of this, our Y pipe. These are our Y pipes here. Look at them, they're pretty. Never had a failure of them, never. So, but I want to do something different because we're waiting on a heat shield right now. We decided to not we got the oil cooler done. I put a different one in it. We're going to leave the pump cover. I'm going to leave the IPR valve, and let's see what happens. It's not the best job in the world, but I figured we would go ahead and wrap it. And that gives more room for everything and lock more heat inside the exhaust. We're not going to do the up pipe. Just, we might. I don't know. But right now we haven't yet. So let's go ahead and wrap it. Some of that is pretty hard to get to look good. We're going to be taking the cab back off, like I said, so we can see how well it works, see what we got to do next. We got more parts. So be a good test run on it. I know a lot of people have been doing it for a long time. And I mean, if I would have had a heat shield, I wouldn't have done it because the heat shield looks exactly how it does forever. This will not look like that forever. So, yep. All right, we're going to put it back together. I figured I'd take a quick look down and look at all the ports real quick. Might as well just take a quick look down all of them. See if, make sure we ain't got none dropped in there. It's nothing obvious. Might as well, right? It really is. It just keeps coming. They put the gasket on upside down. Dang it. We're going to reuse these because these are very, very resilient. We never have issues with them, so might as well reuse these, save them for when we go in, take the heads off. Then we'll get new ones. But for now, let's just ride down the road with the old dirty crap we had. So right here, we're going to clean this up. This harness that comes out of the underneath the fuel line should go from the passenger side over to the driver's side, go through the push pin, come over and curve back into the coolant temp sensor. That leaves the fan clutch wire on top, ready to go over and connect to the fan clutch. That's the proper way. This one was backwards. It was all twisted. I didn't want to take all the twists out because I was worried you straighten it all the way up, it could, yeah, I just didn't want to take them all out. So I left one in it, and yeah, that's how it routes. So there you go.